politics and real estate investing. Yes, we're really going to go there next. When you change political stripes in a presidential administration like we had previously with Trump transitioning into Joe Biden, a number of changes are going to take place affecting real estate investors. And we're largely talking in both likelihoods and generalities here. Presidents don't always get what they want. They don't often even try to impose everything that they had said that they wanted. And let's remember that we're in a predominantly GOP Senate and a Democratic-controlled House that does handcuff President Joe Biden in a few different ways. But Biden says, and these are the pros for real estate investors, that he wants to introduce more monetary stimulus to help pave over economic problems like the pandemic and so on. That stokes inflation because it introduces more dollars into the economy. Biden also favors a $15 minimum wage. That also increases inflation. Remember, increasing inflation is a good thing. As you remember in my video titled Inflation Triple Crown, you can always just Google Inflation Triple Crown and that video will pop up. Yes, more inflation benefits real estate investors, but with a Biden administration, it's more likely that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are going to survive as those mortgage agencies backing up those government loans. That's going to help keep interest rates low. Joe Biden says he's been interested in introducing a $15,000 homebuyer tax credit for first-time homebuyers. That pumps more dollars and more liquidity into the market and can help drive up demand and prices for housing. Another pro with Biden is oftentimes one that wears his political stripe versus the prior administration, is that more immigration is likely to happen. Well, immigration, that's a substantial input to population growth. Well, all these immigrants are going to need homes and you can provide housing for them. So these are some of the pros for real estate investors with Biden's plan. But let's talk about some of the cons, some of the downsides of that. Biden says he wants higher taxes, especially on wealthier people. Now, Biden says he would make the highest tax rate 39.6%, up from 37%. Trump had dropped that many years ago from 39.6 down to 37, where it is now. Biden says he'd hike that back up there. That only hits the highest earners. And notice that tax hikes do lower inflation. So why do increased taxes lower inflation? Well, just imagine a bunch of people that want to attend an auction, want to go into the auction house to place bids on auction items. But before those bidders enter that auction house, they all have 30% of the money deducted from their pocket that they were going to take into that auction house. Well, now they can't bid up prices to the extent that they could have if they had more money. It works similarly with consumers in an economy. Taxes take money out of your pocket that you can't use to drive up consumer prices. That's why higher taxes typically result in lower inflation. Another con with the Biden administration is he said he wants to kill the 1031 tax-deferred exchange, the like-kind exchange for real estate investors, meaning that we never need to pay capital gains tax on our investment real estate if we structure things properly. Previous administrations have expressed interest in killing the 1031 exchange as well. They didn't do it. We'll see if Biden gets his way. We're probably going to have more pandemic shutdowns of the economy. You can think of that as a con, and really that's one reason why a Biden administration would need to introduce more stimulus if shutdowns are more likely. What about Jerome Powell's future? We don't know about that. Powell's future is uncertain now. His term ends in February of 2022. My guess is that he is going to stay around for a while. We also don't know about the new FHFA appointee. They oversee both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Opportunity zones are probably going to get less attention in a Biden administration as well. So those are some of the pros and the cons of Biden's economic plan. And notice that some cons also have a pro element to them. For example, a $15 minimum wage, yes, that could increase inflation, which is good for real estate investors, but that could reduce employment in the economy, right? Because if you're an employer like a McDonald's and you now have to pay everyone $15, Well, now McDonald's is more incentivized to set up electronic kiosks and lay off workers, not having to then pay them that higher minimum wage. So that's why it can reduce employment. Now, really in any administration, either stripe, I would say we're going to have low interest rates and monetary stimulus really regardless here in the short to intermediate term. And really under any administration, Trump had said previously and Biden has said now that they are in favor of trillion-dollar infrastructure packages. So an infrastructure package that increases inflation and it increases employment, and that's something that's had a lot of bipartisan support. So as you notice, a lot of this isn't what political stripe you are, and there are really ways to play both sides of this, whether you like Biden's economic plan or whether you don't like it. Play it how you want to play it. Your future has more to do with your decisions than decisions that a president makes. For example, what about the immigration thing? If you think that there is going to be more immigration, which you could see as a pro for Biden, even if you're philosophically opposed to immigration, that could be good for real estate investors. Maybe you want to invest in a market that's positioned to benefit from a lot of new immigrants. If you like wealth building videos like this, when you subscribe to our Get Rich Education YouTube channel, remember to hit that notification bell right after subscribing. That's the only way you get informed about a new video content that I have like this. I talk about real estate investing, real estate economics, and wealth mindset on the Get Rich Education podcast every Monday as well. So you can see me there. Those are the pros and cons of Biden's economic plan. I'm Keith Weinhold. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Since 2014, the powerful Get Rich Education podcast has created more passive income for people than nearly any other show in the world. This show teaches you how to earn strong returns from passive real estate investing in the best markets without losing your time being a flipper or landlord. Show host Keith Weinhold writes for Forbes and delivers a new show every week. Since 2014, there's been millions of listener downloads in 188 world nations. He has A-list show guests include top-selling personal finance author Robert Kiyosaki. Get Rich Education can be heard on every podcast platform, plus it has its own dedicated Apple and Android listener phone apps. Build wealth on the go with the Get Rich Education podcast. Sign up now for the Get Rich Education podcast or visit GetRichEducation.com.